Hey guys, it's Sasha. I know there are many very ambitious young investors out there who are not satisfied with the status quo. Making 9% per year through investing is for dumb old people, right? Why waste your life working to earn a wage when you can go and become insanely rich really quickly? Am I right?
I'm talking about this.
Investing in crypto can be pretty lucrative. You can make 1,000% return in a month by picking the right coin. Don't listen to the haters, don't listen to the FUD. Once you've picked your coin, it doesn't really matter which, and put in your $100, you're pretty much guaranteed to buy a Lambo in about a month or maybe 2 months in the worst possible scenario. Now nobody, just so you know, nobody has ever lost money in crypto, and all the talk about all the different kinds of scams that are happening is definitely completely made up. But if you want to be really rich, that is not the way to do it, because if you want to become rich quickly, there is only one way to do it. You need to go and launch your own cryptocurrency. So if you're up for earning $1 billion, listen up, because I am going to give you the definitive complete guide as to how to do it. An important disclaimer before I go and talk about it: this strategy will make you incredibly rich. So please be mentally prepared for the ridiculous amounts of money that you're about to earn. Anyway, the first big thing that you're going to have to do is to go and create the actual crypto in the first place. And luckily for you, this is the easy bit. You don't actually want to go and write the code because, well, let's face it, you don't actually know how to do any coding. The easiest thing to do, and the thing that pretty much everyone does, is to go and find any other random bit of crypto code on GitHub and just go and copy it. Go and copy and paste it into your own project. Make sure that you copy the code for a token rather than a coin, because you don't want to go and create a blockchain. That requires some actual effort, and you don't really want to go and expend energy to go and earn your $1 billion. Don't worry about the fact that the copied code will have literal references to the 20 different coins that copied that code after each other. It doesn't really matter. Nobody will pay any attention. It'll make no difference whatsoever, because the people that you will be earning your money from, your investors, won't know anything about coding either, so it doesn't matter. The best bit is that plagiarism in crypto has a much better name. It's called making a fork. You just have to invest 10 seconds of your precious time to go and copy that code over, and bang, you've just created a new crypto fork, and that is apparently a good thing. Pat yourself on the back. Next up, you need to go and choose a name. And make sure it's catchy. If you can't think of a catchy name, there are two really good ways of going about it. Anything to do with space, the name of a random planet or a galaxy or something like that works perfectly fine, or just invent a random word, and that usually does the trick as well.
We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon.
Now that you have copied the bit of code and come up with a name, it's time to go and launch your crypto. There are a few secrets that you must absolutely get right at this point. First, people don't really like it when developers obviously give themselves a giant chunk of tokens at launch, but of course you have to give yourself a giant chunk of tokens at launch, because that's how you're going to become a billionaire. So what you need to do is to do a fair launch. This is the bit where anyone can technically go and buy into your token the moment you've created it, because it is fair and accessible to all, but just make sure that you don't really tell anyone about it. Don't go and share the news too widely. You don't want a lot of people turning up, because you want to be collecting the vast majority of those tokens at the beginning when they are almost worthless. It's best to wait at least a week or two before you start on the marketing, so you can collect as many of those fair launch tokens as possible. The trick is to make sure that you spread those initial tokens into as many different wallets as possible, so that nobody in the future can go and track all those wallets and know that you're the one who's actually doing all the selling. Then a new fashionable trend now exists to create a liquidity pool as well. This is a giant chunk of tokens that exist in a separate wallet that you will have complete access to do whatever you want with it. We're going to come back later as to what it is that you want to do with it, but the official reason that you're going to have for having this completely over the top giant pool of tokens is so that you can go and list your token on exchanges and for development and general business operations. You see, you have to pretend that you have a giant team of 50 or 100 people working on the project project, but in reality it's just you and your mates working out of your parents' basement. Also remember to create some crazy high number of tokens, so the price per token is super low. A quadrillion or a pentillion is a good place to start. It doesn't matter how many zeros are in it, look it up on Google and make sure that you can go and buy a few million tokens for just a few dollars, because the kind of person that you're trying to bring in to invest, the kind of person you're trying to lure in, doesn't really understand maths. So what you want them to think is that this thing is really cheap, because you know, Bitcoin is $37,000, Dogecoin is 40 cents, and your token is just 0.0000001 of a cent. Isn't that incredible? It is so cheap and people love buying cheap things, so that's going to work absolutely beautifully. Marketing is also really important, and you need to make sure that you get people to go and believe in your token so that they come and buy it every single day, rising the price and egging each other on. One thing that you really need to do is to tell them that you have dozens of developers working on the project. It doesn't really matter that you don't have them. It doesn't matter that you just have one guy out of you who knows how to put together a 3-page website, because that is literally all the development you'll ever have to actually do. Go and slap the faces of you and your friends onto the website, because then people will trust you. They can see your face, so how could you possibly do anything untoward, right? That is a really neat trick. Trust is what you absolutely need to go and build your cult, because the cult is what will do the majority of your marketing for you. They're the ones who are going to be bringing their friends and their family and anyone else they know on the internet into the cult to make sure it grows exponentially as quickly as possible.
So it's a Ponzi scheme within a Ponzi scheme.
A great way to instill a cult culture is to tell everyone that your particular token is headed to the moon and it is the best out there, despite it just being a copy of dozens of others. But yours is particularly special. Make sure that you tell everybody that they are all going to go and get a Lambo so they can keep asking each other when that particular moment is going to arrive. That is surprisingly effective with this particular type of thing. Then introduce some feature into your token that incentivizes people to hold, because you don't want people to go and jump off and pocket their money when they're ready to. Call it tokenomics or any other cool word that you want to come up with. Basically just punish anyone who wants to sell with hefty fees, because that ensures that your cult members will sit there and not sell and in fact try to buy more, because you're disincentivizing anyone who wants to leave the cult. Now those cult members will then go and spread all over the internet information that praises your token.
Cult. Scientology isn't a cult, Kyle.
And they will also help you out by throwing a huge amount of abuse at anyone who dares to disagree or dares to say anything that might be to the detriment of their holding. It's neat. All you have to do is feed your cult members news. Now, research suggests that once a week is about the optimal timeline. Each week, all you need to do is go and announce a new project that you're working on. Start with low-hanging fruit. Tell them that you are definitely going to go and release a wallet. Then go and tell them you're building your own exchange. Then tell them you're building special gadgets like cold storage. It doesn't really matter that you don't know how to do any of those things, or that you probably will never release them, or even if you did release them, that they'll do absolutely nothing that the 20 other versions of the same thing already don't do, because it doesn't matter. People get very excited about projects. Remember, people will pretty much begin to worship you at that point for how hard you are working, just because you keep telling them about this rosy future. There are plenty of tutorials on YouTube and plenty of people on Fiverr who can do you a short video once a week that you can plaster all over your social media to show people that you are working extremely hard on that particular project. That'll be more than enough to convince people that you are at literal god status, which is what you need for the next part of the plan. There is only one thing you actually have to do before you get to that stage where you become a billionaire. You need your token to be listed on some exchanges so that people can go and buy it and help the price to go up. Now, don't be daft. The big exchanges, the reputable ones that we all know about, won't list your scam coin on their exchange because, you know, they can see right through one of these projects because they've seen dozens like it before. What you'll have to do instead is go for one of these other exchanges that exist that will happily list absolutely anything. It doesn't really matter, and you don't really care, because as long as a few of them choose to go and do it, and they will because they earn fees for the privilege, then you'll be in a nice position where you can go and have more people buy in with more ease, which will push the price up. So after a few weeks, if you're doing everything right, the price of the token is going to go up enough for you to get insanely rich. This is the moment you've been waiting for, but don't be greedy. First, just tread the water and take it very lightly and just become a multi-millionaire first by gradually selling some of these tokens that sit in the hundreds or maybe thousands of accounts that you created at the beginning, remember? Don't sell them all in one big load. That is a rookie mistake because that might arouse some suspicions. People don't like seeing a huge amount of their token being sold at one time because it points the fingers to you. You don't want them to know that. So just go and continuously sell bits. Sometimes sell a slightly larger amount, but don't go over the top. The money will come as long as you just keep selling it week in, week out, and month in, month out. At the same time, it's really a good idea to ensure that you at the same time go and put out some positive tweets. Go into your Discord and say some positive stuff and reiterate some positive news because people love that. People are going to go and buy up those tokens that you are selling and ensure that the price doesn't drop too much. So that's going to help you out. You really should own, if you're doing it right, at least 50% of all the available tokens. So as the price rises to these ridiculous levels, you don't even have to sell that much to earn at least $10 or $20 million or potentially quite a bit more. Now, after some time, after you've been selling your tokens for a while, either you're going to run out of tokens to sell or the price is going to stagnate, and that is the cue for the next big step. The moment you've been waiting for is now, because at this point you probably own a few $100 million and you're not quite at the billionaire status just yet. Now is the time to do the rug pull. Just before you do, remember that this bit is optional. You already have a few $100 million. So you can just cash out, walk away, and tell your community that you just got too tired. You've been working so hard and you've decided to step aside. None of them will even know what just happened. None of them will even realize that you've already made a few $100 million while they're all sitting there waiting to hit to the moon. At this point, you can walk away pretty cleanly, but if you really want the final hurrah and to hit that 1 billion mark, here is what you need to do. Remember that liquidity pool that I mentioned earlier? Well, this is the bit where you're gonna go and play with it. As a developer and owner of the token, you can do whatever you want with it, and the one thing that you can do with it is to go and sell all of it, all of the liquidity pool on the market. Make sure you do it as quickly as possible because the moment that that liquidity pool is empty, nobody else who owns those tokens can actually go and sell theirs, which makes it pretty funny because you get to screw over all the other people who you managed to lure in. With a bit of luck, the extra cash that you've just raised will neatly put you into the billionaire category. Not a bad return, and make sure that once you've done that, you come back to this video and say thank you in the comments afterwards for this free guide of how to do it. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it, and welcome to the Crypto Billionaire Club.